Welcome to School's Out 80s Comedy Story Time.
Hey everybody, welcome to School's Out 80s Comedy Story Time. Got a really special guest to us, coming to us all the way from Dallas, Texas. Dave Brown, say hello to everybody at School's Out 80s.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Sales Warrior and Sales Warrior followers. Glad to be here, John. I can't wait. This is going to be a good time.
Awesome, Dave, man. I'm so excited to have you on. I probably say that to a lot of my guests, but today I mean it.
But today I'm the special guy, right?
You
Okay.
are, man.
I'm feeling the love. Let's
All
have
right,
it.
all right. Sounds good, brother. So Dave, School's Out 80s. It's all about the 80s, comedy, things that happened to us in the 80s. We all got great stories. You grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, correct?
Fort Wayne, Indiana, Northern Indiana. Yes, sir.
Yeah, kind of like I did some research before having the show, but about 250,000 people live in Fort Wayne. It's not like a small town. It's a city, right?
Yeah. It's the second largest city in Indiana, but I grew up 20 miles north of Fort Wayne in a little city, Auburn, Indiana. We had about
Okay.
12,000 people that lived in that city. So for us to drive into the big city, it was about a 30-minute drive, and that was quite the treat, and that's where we went to hang out and get rowdy when we were in high school then.
Nice. I like it though. So you're about 30 minutes outside the city. So that tends to lead to a lot of teenage debauchery.
Teenage debauchery. We called it country cruising, John. Did you
Okay,
you're
I like it.
you're from Missouri. You know what a little
Yeah,
country cruising is, don't you? Yeah.
I do. I do. I'm
That's
I'm,
what we
I'm
would do.
always one gravel road drive away from a party.
Yeah, well, a lot of gravel roads away from a party, and man, I'll tell you what, probably a lot of driving way too fast on some of those roads when you were young.
Ah,
You're out
yes.
having fun on the weekends, and your buddies getting on that accelerator, and four or five of you are in the car screaming for them to slow it down. We're gonna die.
Sure.
We're gonna die. So yeah, you can relate to that, can't you?
We're all gonna die. Absolutely, I can. I'm surprised I'm living now.
Exactly.
Hey,
And then after you go through that next curve, you're like, oh, let's do it again. That was great.
oh, exactly. Exactly. Hey, Dave, take us back to you can either go middle school or high school. You can start wherever you want, wherever you think you might have the funniest story. Do you have some funny stories from Dave in middle school?
Man, I would say I'm going to jump to high school if you don't
Okay,
mind, because that's
that's
where
fine.
I think that's where all the fun started was high school. So I'm going to start with one that was my sophomore year in high school. I turned out to be a really good buddy of mine. Moved into town from California. Now you got to remember, 12,500 people in northern Indiana. Honest to goodness,
Mhm.
I don't think that we had any black individuals living in our city. Okay. And
Okay,
so
yeah.
it was a very, very, it was blue collar, but it was just very conservative. And so Jimmy, my buddy Jimmy moved in from California, and
Okay.
John, I'm gonna say it, he was a Mexican. Can you
Oh,
believe it? He was a
okay. All
Mexican.
right, Dave.
All right, but here you go, man. He had
Uh,
a van. He drove a van with murals painted on it, brother. Okay.
oh my God.
Exactly. So now I'm in sports, And the basketball coach didn't like this, but I befriended Jimmy. I don't know why. I'm just, I'm friendly. I talk to
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
Next thing you know, Jimmy and I are friends. And next thing you know, Friday afternoons, we couldn't wait for school to get out when I wasn't playing basketball,
Right.
because we would literally Friday after school, we would head into town in the van, shag carpet, the whole deal, little steering wheel about this big,
Oh
and
no.
we'd go get us a pony keg. Remember those
Oh yes, I do.
8-gallon kegs? We called them pony kegs. We'd stick
Yeah.
that thing in the van and we would party all weekend. It was just again, country cruising roadshow in
Yeah.
a van with 8-track tapes, man. You
I
know,
love it.
Running with the devil and fall
Oh
guy,
yeah,
and
man.
just, oh man. So there was tons of stories out of that, but that was the
Yeah.
basis. That was the basis of some amazing stories.
Oh, absolutely. So what year was that? Your
So
sophomore
that
year.
would have been in about 19, that would have been about 81, 80, 82.
Nice.
82 would have been
81.
my sophomore
Okay.
year. I graduated in 84.
So while Reagan's wife was saying just say no to drugs, you guys were drinking a pony keg.
We were drinking a pony keg, shotgunning Little Kings, and you know, trying to convince parents that it was okay to let their daughters come out and go on a date with us. That don't mind this van sitting in the garage or the driveway.
Uh,
No, nothing bad's gonna happen. Could you imagine being dumb
oh my
enough at
God.
16 and 17, showing up in a van to pick up a girl for a date, and her dad looks out the window and it's a van?
Did it, hey Dave, did it have one of those little windows?
Oh
Those little
yeah.
round windows?
Oh yeah, it was the epitome. A little refrigerator, a little window,
Oh
and
man.
shag
I must
carpet
say I'm
with,
jealous.
yeah, I'm telling you, like I'm not going to say we did, but like
Huh?
roach clips would get, like, we'd stick them up in the, the little clips. We'd stick those in the
Oh, I
shag
see.
carpet,
Okay.
try to, and John, it was a
Interesting.
fun
Okay, your
time.
buddy Jimmy from California. What's Jimmy's? Can we say Jimmy's last name or should we not?
No, we can. Jimmy McDonald, and he's back. He lives in, I think it's been years, but he's living in Ridgecrest, California.
So
Jimmy,
he's
I'm going to
back in
send you
Cali.
this. He's back in Cali, got a couple of kids, working hard. But, after high school, we lost touch for a long
Yeah.
time because he was crazy. I was crazy. And two crazies could, get you in a lot of trouble. But we did
Right.
reconnect. It's been about 5 years ago, John. We probably went 25 years without seeing or talking to each
Oh
other. And about
wow.
5 years ago, we reconnected. And
Yeah.
it
Oh
was cool. We
wow.
got to hang out on a Sunday. He was in town visiting, and yeah, we had a good time. So, but my
That's
buddy
awesome.
Jimmy, man, it was a lot of fun times.
It sounds like it. So and you say Jimmy was Hispanic, huh?
He was Hispanic at the time. Yeah, at the time it was like you can't hang out with him. My basketball coach didn't like that.
Oh
Like,
really? Wow.
it's not a good image. I'm like, sorry, coach, I'm not going to the NBA, so
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about my basketball image or anything.
There you go.
So,
There
yep.
you go. Man, that's awesome story, Dave. Well, so you're in high school, so and you play basketball. I'm always asked this question. I don't know why, but I always do. What was your mascot in high school?
It was a baron. We were the DeKalb Barons, so it was a baron, like with knights and
Really?
in the, from knighthood. It was a baron that, yeah,
That's
is what,
wild.
yeah, it was pretty cool, dude. So
I
what
don't
was
even know what a
yours?
baron would look like. I mean, was it just a knight? I mean,
Yeah, it
was
was
it
kind
just
of like, it looked kind of like a knight. I'm guessing like maybe a baron was either above or below a knight, but held a little sword, with a little shield
okay?
and so forth. And yeah, what about
No.
yours in Missouri? What were you?
Well, hold on. So
Oh,
you guys are
okay.
barons. So I'm just thinking that really coincides with your little kings that you used to drink.
Oh yeah, we could
Those little
shotgun.
tiny bottles of malt liquor.
Yeah,
Get you
shotgunning
very
those
drunk
and
very quicker.
2.7 second record here. Come on.
Oh, really? You can drink a little king in less than 3 seconds?
You just opened and took
That's
the floor.
great. That is great. I love it.
Thanks, brother.
That is a good. That is good. So Dave, we were the Bishop LeBlond because I went to a Catholic school. We were the Bishop LeBlond Golden Eagles.
Bishop LeBlond, Golden Eagles. So what? Like two words weren't enough. Your school had to like add two extra to have four names in the 4 words in the name, John.
I guess. Well, so the bishop in Kansas City, Missouri, his name was LeBlond. So that's where they got the name of the school. And
Oh.
Golden Eagles, I guess they just figured we couldn't just be Eagles. We had to be Golden Eagles, which was kind of cool because, like, on our helmets and stuff, I think we had like the picture of a golden eagle, which was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So, those Catholics, you got to be a step above. And, some of my best buddies are Catholics. God love y'all. So, you had to be the Golden Eagles. Nice.
We did. We had to be the Golden Eagles. And we're always one Hail Mary away from winning a football game, Dave.
So you were a Lou Holtz fan then at somewhere.
Oh, I'm a huge Lou Holtz fan. Absolutely.
Love it.
I kid you not. This is one of my best stories from high school. My friends hearing it will remember this really well. So my senior year, we won city. We won city, Dave, by 1 point. So it was 21-14. They scored another touchdown, and when they went to kick the extra point, everybody on my team on the sidelines took a knee and said a Hail Mary, and the guy kicked it wide.
Oh, hallelujah, right?
Hallelujah, man. God was shining down on us that day. To give you an idea, we were playing, I think, a 5A school, and we were only a 2A school because we were a private school.
Oh,
I think
man.
at the time we only had maybe 230 people going to our school. Literally, we had to have everybody go out to even participate in high school football.
Just to field a big enough team, huh?
Yes. Yeah, we suited up sophomores every game for high school football.
Gosh.
Sometimes if the freshmen were good enough, the freshmen played too.
Oh my gosh, John. Did they call you two-way Johnny or anything? I mean, were you playing both offense and defense?
I was primarily playing specialty teams, and I was primarily a defensive player.
Very good.
So yeah, I kick off, and then also I played defensive end.
Very nice.
Kind of aggressive. I'm kind of
You
an
like to
aggressive
hit
person.
people then, didn't you?
I do like to hit people. I do.
Well, that tells me then why when I go listen to music, you like to kind of have that headbanging music, right?
I do, man. I loved football. I mean, and it was how do they say it? It's a contact sport.
Just like sales, contact sport.
Yes. And okay, so going back to your high school though, so you guys were the Barons.
Mhm.
So thinking back, do you remember a funny story that happened like either in the school lunchroom, because a lot of times you get funny stories in school lunchroom, or possibly you got a funny story from in the classroom that you remember from high school?
I'm going to take you to the lunchroom if you don't mind. Okay.
No, take me to the lunchroom. That's a good
All right.
place because a lot of controversy can happen in the
Oh
lunchroom.
man, a lot of controversy, and you know how everybody kind of congregates in pockets. Okay, lunchrooms are very much, by seniority. You got the hoodlums, right, or the rough kids that we call them, and then you got the athletes, the band kids, the jocks, and so we were always in the jock club, and we had a really cool athletic director, and I think he just recently passed away. His name was Dick McKean.
Okay.
But Dick really was a great athletic director in the sense of those guys, if you know anything about, schools and sports, the athletic directors, they live at the school literally 6 days a week. They're literally at every sporting event. Okay.
Yep.
And so they really get to know the athletes, but especially at lunchtime, Dick would like be one of the lunch monitors. So he would always stay over by us athletes and hang out. And we started doing this thing where I think it was him. He like almost like, I dare you to see how quick you can like slug that Jello. They give you those cubes of Jello.
Really? So the athletic director was having you guys like Increase
almost
your
like
food consumption.
Exactly. Yeah. He was like almost like if you were like, doing a line or something, we'd put the jello down on the table, put our hands behind our back, and he'd be like, all right, let's go. And we'd sit there and slurp that jello up in
Like it.
one big
Oh, that's greatness. I love it.
and he'd laugh and be like, all right, Reckaway, you won, or Brown, you won, or Auburn, do it again. You get another jello. And it was just a really cool, fun
Yeah.
environment. And but I would tell you, because of being in sports, it kept us from doing things it kept us from doing things we shouldn't sometimes,
Oh,
but it
sure.
also allowed us to walk that line where some other kids might have ended up in the office, and we had a little more leniency, right?
Oh, yeah. I get it.
A lot more leniency, but it was pretty cool. But that was one fun story.
That's a
Um,
good one.
yeah, not as funny as pushing my buddy out in the middle of the court naked. That was a pretty good one too. But
What?
can I tell that one on air?
Oh, yeah. It's fine. Yeah.
All right.
Tell away.
I think it was like maybe our junior year. To this day, one of my best buddies, and he's one of the like two people that I've stayed in touch with from high school, Jeff
Yeah.
Reckaway. He's up in Midland, Michigan. Shout out to you, Recky. And he won a national championship as a coach, played basketball at Nebraska on a
Wow.
full scholarship,
Yeah.
coached at Northwood University, Division II for about 12 years, and now he's in the
Okay.
private sector. But I think it was his 17th birthday.
Okay.
And again, Recky was 6'6", 6'7". Okay, so he's a big guy, and we in the locker room held him down after practice, stripped him down buck naked, which was not an easy thing to do at 6'6", 6'7". Okay, we got him in remember the laundry carts that you'd throw in the gym that you'd throw your towels.
Yeah. You throw your towels in. Yeah.
We threw him in. We got all the towels out. We threw him in there, held him in it, and we jammed it. The girls were having basketball practice because we were done and now they were practicing. And we ran him out the court and pushed him all the way out to the center of the basketball court. And then we turned around and ran back in the locker room. And
Oh, my God. That's great.
Totally naked and had to jump out of the cart and kind of try to and all the girls are, I mean, again, they're 16, 17, 18-year-old
Oh,
girls.
my gosh.
He's one of the
Oh, that is good.
kids in the school, John. And so
Oh,
everybody,
wow.
and of course he's 6'7". Everybody wanted to see if he had a
Well, yeah.
you know what I
All
mean. They
good,
all
all
wanted to
good.
see,
Big hands, big feet. So he basically pushes the cart back to the locker room, probably like using the cart as a way to cover his manhood.
I think so. And by then, all I remember is we were all grabbing our stuff to run out the back door to get to our cars, because we knew when he hit that locker room, if you were there, you were going to be in some trouble. So
Wow.
he wasn't going to be real happy. So I just remember getting the heck out of the back, the side locker room door to get outside as quick as I could. So
That is great. So did he ever, like, I know he probably ran after you guys after he got clothes on, but did he ever do any other retaliation?
The only other retaliation I remember he did, and I think to this day, John, you just helped me figure it out. We were at his house. He had a beautiful house out in the country.
Yeah.
I was in two at his house in the same day, within like an hour and a half of each other. I was in two. Remember the three-wheelers, the ATVs?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I was in two different accidents on his ATV as a passenger. One, so I think he sabotaged that ATV so that it would crash, because when Troy was driving it, he ran that thing off the path into the little creek in the river, and we had we were laying sideways. And then about an hour later, going down a country road, Tony Banker couldn't keep it in the road, ran off the road, hit a rock. That thing did a flip, and we went flying. I think Rec got back at us. I think you're onto something, John.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
that's interesting. I wonder how, like, okay.
Yeah, I think Rec did it.
Wow.
Well, I think he did. He sabotaged the ATV to get back at all of us. I just happened to be a passenger in both of the accidents. Now you could say maybe I was
Wow.
the common
Yeah.
denominator. I think it was Recky getting back at us.
Interesting. That's yeah. If you grew up in the 80s and you had any time at all to ride a three-wheeler, you got in a wreck. Like they outlawed three-wheelers.
I think they did. Yeah, they were dangerous. But yeah, if you grew up, especially those of us like me and you, anybody that grew
Yeah,
up outside of a big city, ATVs and snowmobiles and mini bikes, those were those were big things.
absolutely. Yeah, I had my uh time where we went over a small hill in a snowmobile and we went flying and then we landed in a snow embankment and we all just started laughing.
What's that saying? Asses over alligators, John? Is that what you were doing?
Pretty much, yeah. We were just, yeah. Well, we went airborne, and when we landed, and it was kind of the idea to go airborne. And when we landed, I mean, we landed down, but then we rolled out real quick, just because like it was a bit much. Like it was my very first time snowmobiling too, and it was fun. I think there was maybe three of us on that one snowmobile.
Oh
Like it
my
was
gosh.
evidently it was a pretty big snowmobile. So that's wild though. So I sit there and think about like your guys' instance with Reki, and I think of Porky's. Like it just seems like a scene that would have been in Porky's back in the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Who was the star of Porky's, John? Oh, what was his the
Well,
what was
that one actor they called him Meat,
yeah, there was Meat.
and then
Yes,
there was Pee Wee and there was Meat. Those were the
Meat.
two
Okay.
main characters.
Yes, yes. It's like a scene out of that. Exactly.
It is exactly a scene out of that. Okay, so Dave, how tall are you? You play basketball. I'm curious.
I'm 6 foot, so I was
Okay.
I had to play defense, John. I wasn't the big tall guy on the team.
Were you did you play well, I know you played defense, but in basketball, were you a guard then?
I was considered a forward, so I was a four
Okay.
guard. So
Okay,
yeah,
so
I
you're a
was or
forward.
a four.
Okay.
I was a four man. I was a forward back when they kind of labeled them, like one, two,
Yeah.
three, four, five. I was a true forward.
Yeah, okay. That's what I played when I played middle school ball and I played grade
Okay.
school ball. And for years I was the center of the team because I was always the tallest on the
Mm.
team. And, and then the year joined a school with the guy taller than me, they immediately made me a forward.
Very nice. You
And
heard
and
my
I can't
point.
blame it on the coach because my dad was the coach.
Oh. Hey, he was probably harder on you than anybody since it was your dad, I bet.
My dad was competitive. Like he
I
wasn't
bet.
gonna lose the basketball game. Yeah, he
That
was
is
not
so
gonna lose the
cool.
basketball game.
That's
Which
cool.
so when you played high school ball, did you have like any standout players, like the guy that you always tried to get the ball to because like he was always gonna make it, or did you guys play a more balanced game where everybody got to shoot?
No, I'd say, the guy I was just talking about, Recky. I mean, Rec, when it's kind of a funny story back in,
Yeah.
to hear Rec tell it, he and I met probably in about sixth grade for the first
Okay.
time. Because again, back then they had country schools and he went to more of a country school, but he walked into a basketball camp and to hear him tell it today, he walked in and I was probably 5'10" at 12 years old. Okay. So I grew another
Okay.
2 inches after sixth grade. But Rec, said he walked into this basketball camp, looked at me and was like, who the heck is that giant? Because I was, good sized and only grew 2 more inches. Well, then our freshman year, go about eighth grade, Jeff
Yeah.
started to grow. So by high school, he was 6'3", probably 6'3" as a sophomore, six going on 6'4". So starting as a sophomore, man, Recky started on the varsity squad and was an instrumental part of that program. Okay.
I
So on
bet.
our team, he was the guy, I got, 8 points a game, I think I averaged. but I was getting the scraps. I was getting one or two, layups a game where they were throwing me the ball. But it was mostly, that getting a couple of rebounds. But Rec was the one we were trying to get the ball to because
Yeah.
He was an all-state player that went Division I. So he was like, get the ball to Recky, he'll put it in the hole.
Yeah.
I'll
That's
pull
how
the
we did
guys,
it too.
yeah, I'll pull the guy's shorts down while Jeff shoots, so that the guy, then I can go get a rebound if there is one.
There you go. I like it. I
That's how
like
you
it.
got to do it. Hey, when you're short and you're playing with bigger guys, you got to use every advantage you can there.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So your story wins the award, though. That's the best story yet, I think, of anybody that I've asked that to. What about take us to a high school party, Dave? Like a high school party back in the 80s and around Fort Wayne or the area that you grew up in outside of Fort Wayne, and you're at the high school party. Are you guys watching MTV?
No, we were bonfire people. So everything was
Oh,
bonfires
man. I love
outside.
it.
The
I
bigger the
love it.
fire, the better. That was the thing. I'm sure there was probably some chicks inside watching MTV, but for us, it was always something. Because again, we grew up kind of in the rural northern
Yeah.
Indiana. A
So you guys
lot of
put a
parties.
big bonfire together. So did you guys you take your resources, put them together and buy a keg of beer?
We would do that. We did things we did something called a hairy buffalo sometimes, and that was where you'd take a garbage can and
Very Buffalo.
everybody would dump whatever they brought into there, right? Almost like a big punch, and then you just drink. But I don't know what other people called it, but we called it hairy buffalo.
I
And so
like it.
it'd be that, or everybody would chip in for a keg. And that was
Uh,
not uncommon. Everybody throw in $2-3, and next thing you know, there's
yeah,
a keg at the party. So yeah, but I'd say outside was mostly what we would do. Is a lot of bonfires outside.
that is so. Would you say like you went to people's land more than you went to like house parties?
I would say so. And again, because I was I mean, it was. And
Uh-huh.
again, not during the winter, because again, in the Midwest, it gets cold in the winter. So,
Yeah,
then it would be, and again, we're in northern Indiana,
you don't have
probably
to put
like,
ice on your beer in the Midwest.
no, in fact, you'd leave like in the winter parties, the keg could sit out on like the patio or out on a deck. And so then people would just reach out and pump their keg and, because it stayed cold sitting outside. So that was always
Yes,
a good
I'm
thing.
aware.
But lots of basements in the Midwest where I'm from. Everybody had basements, and so a lot of basement parties, right?
I like
So,
it. Us
so that's
too.
where during the winter time when it was a house party, it was
Yeah,
usually in a basement. And then they tried to keep the debauchery in the basement so they could control the chaos. You know what I mean, and keep it from the rest of the house.
I like it. Okay, got a question.
All
So
right.
you got this Wayne's World thing going on in your basement parties in Indiana. What I'm wondering, anytime was there a situation where maybe you had some guys from the warring school come over and you guys got in a fight?
Oh man, it would happen all the time. Yeah,
Look at
yeah,
that, man. Midwest
all the
fist in the air, baby.
all the time, brother. I mean, it's like hey, Garrett Railroaders. I mean, they were like 4 miles down the road, and
Yeah.
our little
Were they
two
trying to date your chicks? Is that why you guys beat them up?
God, and they were kind of like, that we like considered they were the railroaders, okay? The Garrett
Okay, the
Railroaders.
railroaders.
So we
Drinking
kind
the
of
hairy
acted like,
buffalo with you.
yeah. So we acted like they were like less than, and so
Yeah.
there was this thing that would go on. But yeah, they didn't like us and we didn't like them. But I tried to keep my nose out of fighting. It was one of those, but it happened. I mean, some of the guys would get in fights, but I would try to observe, even though I was big enough to handle myself. That
Yeah.
was, that was the kind of stuff that would like cross the line and get me in trouble for sports. And so, would try to stay out of there. But yeah, I remember a few fights where, man, I remember these two brothers both of them getting their butts kicked by the same dude. And I just
Wow.
remember the one guy getting kicked in the face with a pair of cowboy boots and watching
Oh
his head
no.
snap back and hit the ground. And everybody just like, for a minute there, everybody thought he
Wow.
was dead. I mean, he was knocked out
Man.
cold. So, yeah, small town rivalries, But hey, better than what they do today. I'll take the '80s over today. Now they just pull a gun and out and cap you.
That's
So
true.
I'll take the '80s any day, where we just like pulled out our fist and would fight and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
absolutely. Okay, so I got a story that's very similar to your story.
all
So
right.
we're having picture a basement party. Literally, it looks exactly like Wayne's World. I mean, you
Got
coming
it.
down the stairs, you got the 2x4s going down because nothing fancy. They got couches downstairs and a big console TV, and everybody's around it watching MTV and drinking beer. And a kid comes and his friend comes from from another high school, and it was the high school that we were. It was the public high school that we had an issue with. Not me personally. I actually went to public school too,
Okay.
and had a lot of friends that went to our Warren school. But anyway, the consensus at our school is that we didn't like their school, so on and so forth. We since grew out all that as we got older. But
Yeah.
anyway, so one of my best friends, uh, girlfriends, broke up with him to start dating this guy that went to the Warren school.
Oh
And so
no.
we already got a rift going on. And then he decides to come to our party with her, with my
Oh
buddy
yeah.
there. Can you
Oh
believe the
yeah.
controversy going on? And we played football. And so my buddy's name was John, and I think this was John's girlfriend. It was either John or Mark, and it was his girlfriend. And now you got this other guy that comes to the party with his friend. I actually knew both of them. But anyway, so I'm trying to be like the peacemaker, like Marvel Comics,
Yep.
and but I'm also trying to be like the spread some intelligence his way. So I grabbed him by the shirt, and I'm not a big guy, but I grabbed him by the shirt and I just tried to intimidate him. I'm like, man, you need to get the what out of here. Like I tried to be very strong, but uh, also I didn't want to hurt him, and I didn't
Yeah.
want to fight him myself. I just wanted to encourage him to leave before anything really happened.
Hmm.
And my mild mannered best friend, who was the center of our middle school basketball team, as I'm doing this, smacks this guy in the face twice while I'm holding him. I'm like holding him up, trying to help him, and my buddy bam, bam, right in the face.
So it looked like you held him so your buddy could punch him.
I felt so bad because his friend that brought him, he and I were kind of friends. Like we used to go boating and water skiing together on his parents' lake house, and so I didn't have any rifts with him. It just so
Sure.
happened his buddy helped break up my buddy's relationship with his girlfriend, and now here they are in our high school party, rubbing it in while we're all trying to watch MTV and drink
Oh,
beer.
John. So what happened, man? Did that start like a brawl, or what happened?
No, that kid, as soon as he got hit twice in the face, no, he was half crying and half leaving. I mean, he was like, you come down the Wayne's World steps and you go right back up the Wayne's World steps.
You go right back up for the way you came.
And no Aerosmith was playing in our basement that day.
Oh
Like
my.
in Wayne's World where they got Aerosmith down there
Yep.
hanging out with Wayne and Garth.
Oh, I do. Absolutely. So let me ask you, what did the
Uh,
girls do? Because the girl was from your school. I
yeah.
mean,
Well, so
she
she was
probably
with them. So it was the three of them coming down our stairs. And it was led by the guy who broke them up. She thought that she could just come to our high school party, bring her new boyfriend or her new boyfriend's friend.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Not cool. Not
Well, my
cool.
masculine, soon to be now he is in like military intelligence and spent some time like doing a lot of work with the Navy SEALs, and I think he teaches a lot of like
Yeah.
top secret stuff. And he's, but anyway, I really felt sorry for him that night. I mean, I felt sorry for the kid because I felt bad too. Like it was one of those moments in your life where you're like, I probably shouldn't have done that. Like
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
trying to do something good. I was trying to be a Boy Scout,
Yeah.
and but at the same time, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, it is because but it all kind of looked like you were trying to do a good thing, but then it all could have been perceived like you were holding him so the other guy could cold cock him. So then let me ask you this: did you guys do a Jeff Spicola? It's over. Let's go party now and get a
No,
bunch of
those guys.
ass.
Well, those guys got out of our party because they weren't invited. I mean,
Yeah.
they hightailed it out of the party. The guy having the party and his parents wanted him out too. But my buddy, that's the only time I've ever seen him get in a fight in my entire life. I mean, he was a football player in high school. He's a basketball player in high school. Very sports and religious oriented and everything. It
Yeah.
was the wildest thing. I think it just something in his head just snapped, and he's just like he just felt like betrayed. Like he can't believe this kid is at our party.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
my buddy who was dating this girl before she broke up with him, like he's a big muscular dude. He was like one of the probably one of the guards and or tackles on our high school football team. He was not a small guy, and then she ends up dating this like schoolboy. Like I mean, this guy's just like a real petite looking small dude.
Oh man. Yeah, high school drama, man. Isn't that good? That's the
Yeah,
but
it
those
was
are but then
wild, man.
that gets talked about in the halls for the whole next week until the
Oh
next
man,
party,
it was
doesn't it?
wild. Yeah, it was, but then after all that went over and everybody's hearts stopped beating so fast, we were back to drinking Budweiser.
Yeah, about 5 minutes later when the drama's over, it's like, "All right, let's go back to drinking beer."
Yeah, waiting for that next Van Halen to come up on MTV or whatever's
Wow.
going to play, Motley Crue. Take me back, Dave, into high school. Who was your favorite band?
Van Halen. Right here. I'm wearing the shirt, baby. Van Halen. There is no other band, in my opinion. They are hands down the greatest band of all time. End of story. That's it. Greatest band of all time.
Hey, I 100% agree. I mean, Van
Oh,
Halen got
man.
me through so many difficult times in my life. You're going through that teenage angst. You don't really know
Yes.
what you want to do with your life. But I'd turn on Van Halen and just like listen to Van Halen one front and back, and
Oh,
I'd be a happy camper.
ain't
Like it got
talking
me
about
through so much.
love. Oh,
Yeah.
so John, can I ask you a question about Van Halen? I know it's
Go
your
ahead. Yeah,
show.
sure.
Man, so are you an Eddie Van or not obviously Eddie, but what about are you a DLR fan, a David Lee Roth, or a Sammy? I'm a David Lee Roth guy. Now I like
Me
Sammy
too.
individually, but when it comes to Van Halen, I am a die-hard David Lee Roth because that's what I grew up on in the beginning, until
Yes.
he broke up. Yeah.
No, I'm a Van
Oh,
Halen purist and David Lee Roth. And when David Lee Roth came out with the solo stuff, man, I was all in.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I bought David Lee Roth's book, Crazy from the Heat. I bought I think his album was called Crazy from the Heat. And then he came out with another album that had Yankee Rose on it. Wah, wah. Uh, wah, wah. Let me step up on the sidewalk and take a look. Whoa, she's beautiful.
He's beautiful. John, have you ever seen a more I mean, I had such a high level of respect for him being an athlete. I mean, this dude up on stage, at the time, I didn't know if he was partying hard when he was doing this. He was so athletic and physical, the kicks and the jumps. I'd
Yeah.
never seen anything like it. I was just mesmerized by his showmanship. I couldn't watch. I mean, at MTV, I couldn't watch enough of. I mean, if it was anything Van Halen, I wanted to see it, man.
He took it to a new level. There hasn't really been anybody that can jump and put on a show like that since David Lee Roth. But
Yeah.
But David Lee Roth, this is a little unknown fact about David Lee Roth. He stole a lot of like how he looked on stage from a band called Black Oak, Arkansas.
Really?
A guy named Jim Dandy. Yeah.
Dandy. Tell me
But Jim
more.
Dandy, if you ever look him up on the internet, was not a good looking guy.
Okay.
And Black Oak, Arkansas was just like this really strange kind of rock and roll and or slash more like folksy kind of rock and roll. Like, you know, they had one song called like Go Jim Dandy Go Jim Dandy Go. And
There you go.
but it was no Van Halen. But
Okay.
it's so awesome though that David Lee Roth like stole some of the look of being on stage, like how he would look on stage. He stole from Jim Dandy. I don't know if that's funny or not, but it's anecdotally
I
correct.
don't know if it is or not, but then it makes me wonder as a showman if remember how Elvis Presley would do that thing with his legs that
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if David Lee took any showmanship tips from Elvis, back,
Oh yeah.
I
David
bet
Lee
he
Roth was
did.
huge Elvis fan.
Was he? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right.
Yeah, but Elvis, like he took a lot of his from like the black musicians and things like that. But hey, I want to
Okay.
take you to high school now and take me to like, did you ever go on a blind date in high school?
I have to say, I don't think I ever went on a blind date. No,
So
because
all of the girls you dated could see. That's impressive.
yeah, they could. Yeah, so I never had to go on a blind one where they couldn't see me, John. I figured, I had an advantage though that I haven't shared with you yet. Okay.
Okay, all right, go ahead, share away.
All right. So this is a high school story, and this is a small
Yeah.
town USA. When I was 15 years old,
Okay.
15 years old, AJ Takis and I riding our little BMX bikes.
Okay, and you're 15. I get it. Okay.
15, he double dog dares me. Now you know when you
Oh,
get double dog dared by a buddy, right? You got to do it.
pretty
Double
much.
dog dared me to try to go into the Fifth Street liquor store and get served at 15 years old.
Dave.
And I
Wow.
did it. I did it. Now, what I did when I got in there was totally epic, John, because I didn't know what to do. I'm in a liquor store. I'm there, and I just started drinking like that summer for the first time, right? So, and we were raiding AJ's dad's booze and we'd fill it with water. That's a whole nother story. But
Oh my God, you and I are so similar.
you did that too. You like take
Oh
the booze
yeah, yeah. And what we
some?
would do is we would take a little bit, like you're talking about your buffalo. What's it called? Your hairy
Hairy
buffalo.
Buffalo. Yeah, Hairy
Okay,
Buffalo.
so I was a Boy Scout, so I had an aluminum canteen, and so I used to siphon off a little bit of alcohol out of every little bottle in my dad's liquor cabinet because
Mhm.
back in the 80s they didn't keep anything under lock and key.
Right.
But I was such an idiot because I didn't know like what. All I knew was that it was in a bottle, so it was probably alcohol. But in later years, I come to realize that like the strawberry daiquiri mix did not have any alcohol in it, or the Tom Collins mix didn't have any alcohol in it. Yet I would put it in my canteen thinking I was gaining a little bit of alcohol.
Like, man, I'm getting tipsy here. Whoa.
Oh,
And then you find out it was the placebo effect there, John.
oh my God. Well, we did siphon out a lot of alcohol though. I mean, because like my dad had gin, which is horrible mixed with vodka
Oh,
and
yeah.
whiskey. Like my dad would have gin, whiskey. It was back in the day. Like we're talking like he would have handles of alcohol. So he
Yes.
didn't have like he either had a handle or he had a fifth. My dad was not afraid to buy alcohol in a plastic bottle.
Oh, very nice. Hey, as long as it's alcohol. So, can I share this story about
Yes,
AJ's
please
dad?
do.
Oh,
Yes.
this is a good one. So,
Okay.
I'll come back to the double dog dare you, but AJ's dad had a pretty good position in town. He was like in number 2 or 3 at the local foundry. Okay, so he
Oh,
made
okay.
pretty good money. But
That sounds
AJ,
like it.
so it was AJ and then myself and another buddy Troy, and we
Okay.
3 hung around together. Well, then AJ had a brother a year older, so he had a couple real tight buddies. Okay, well,
Yeah.
they were doing the same thing with the booze. They were drinking some of the booze too. So one time AJ's dad calls us all over, all like 6 of us, the 2 brothers, AJ and Eric, and then the 2 buddies on each side. And he's like, God damn you guys, I know you guys are been drinking my booze. And we're all like shaking and are like, oh man, we're busted. He's gonna call our parents. And he said, listen, if you guys fill up my booze with water one more time, I'm calling your parents and you 2 are going to be grounded. Knock it off filling my booze with water, because if AJ and I, like when we were with AJ, if we'd take take a little out, we'd put some water in. Well, then we didn't know that his brother Eric and their buddies were doing the same thing. So
You're getting watered down liquor.
he's going to get a cocktail and it's more water by the time he gets to it than it was booze.
Oh, that's funny.
So my double dog dare you story. So I go in the Fifth Street liquor store, don't know what to do. I'm just like, I'm not getting kicked out. I grab a 6-pack of beer. Okay. Because I don't know what to grab. So I grab a 6-pack of beer out of the fridge. And then I'm looking at all these bottles. I don't know what anything is because I'm new to this. And I grab a pint of apricot brandy, of all things. Go up to the counter, put it down. I buy it. This woman working by the name of Ruby served me, and I'm like, holy crap. I come running out like, holy shit, I got this bag full of stuff. And AJ and I jump on our BMX bikes and we ride down to the First Street Bridge where the baseball diamond is, go down under the bridge to start drinking it. And there's a couple of girls from our school down there smoking cigarettes. And AJ's going, Dave just got served at the liquor store. Oh my gosh. Which, it was like, I'm the big cheese just for that moment.
Oh, absolutely you are.
But John, this is where my entrepreneurial endeavors started. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the next couple of years, I started taking orders. You ever see the movie Shawshank Redemption, or like, let's go back to MASH, the show MASH, Radar O'Reilly, how he could get stuff for people. So I started taking orders every week from people.
Oh no, that's funny.
The booze. And I would mark it up. So like, you want a case of beer? At the time, a case of beer was like $7, $8 for a case. Well, I'd be like, okay, you got to give me $15, right? I just marked it up. If something, you want this and this.
You're bootlegging.
I was bootlegging, dude.
I love it. That's hilarious.
That's how I was making money for a couple of years in high school.
That's
bootlegging.
Funny.
Bringing booze to parties and stuff for people. And
wow, Dave, that's greatness.
Yeah, I shouldn't. Gosh, I hope my kids don't hear this.
Well, I don't. So here's. I didn't personally buy it, but I had a friend that could buy, kind of like yourself. He looked older. He could buy beer or whatever. But I'm kind of a sales guy, and so what I would do is I would ask the younger kids what they wanted. Like, you want a 6-pack of beer? You want a 6? They always wanted just a 6-pack of beer.
Yeah.
And you probably recall that a 12-pack of beer in the 80s was $5. Like a good 12-pack of like Budweiser. They didn't have Bud Light yet, but if you bought like a Miller or a Budweiser, you're looking at $5. You're looking at
about $10.
Yeah, $5 was what you could get in the 80s. Yeah, for a 12-pack.
Oh, 12-pack. Yep.
Yeah, 12-pack in the 80s, in the early 80s and mid 80s, you get a 12-pack for $5. Tax and everything. And so my buddy, same buddy, he was getting served, Matt. He was the guy that like bought the alcohol. He was like yourself. We're taking orders from the younger guys, kind of like you. We didn't do it on multiple occasions. I think, to my knowledge, we only did it on one occasion.
Okay.
But it was our first jaunt into entrepreneurship as well. Yeah. But it went something like this. Hey, Steve, what do you want? Oh, I just want a 6-pack of Coors. I want a 6-pack of Miller. I want a 6-pack. Everybody had a different flavor. I want a 6-pack of Budweiser. I wrote it all down or whatever. And they're like, how much do we owe you? I'm like, don't worry. Just give me $5. Just give me $5. Like everybody I took $5 from. My buddy Matt did the same thing. We went and got all their beer, came back, gave it to them. They weren't driving or anything. They were just like at a house party. And we woke up the next morning and we looked in our pockets, and man, that was like the wealthiest I'd ever been. Like it worked out for us because we were making, I mean, think about it, like we bought beer for 10 kids, and that was a lot of money for us back then. I had over $20 in extra money, and it was a lot of money for me back then. I think too,
John,
Matt was even asking him for $10 for a 6-pack.
I love it.
Like
Yeah.
it was crazy, which
So
kind of
that's,
brings, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so that's what led you then to becoming the sales warrior that we're going to talk more about, I hope.
Well, yeah, at some point we're going to talk about that. But I wanted to tell you something too that came up, like while we're talking about these, you know how they always call it a beer run?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to go do a beer run. I'm going to go do a beer run. I'm going to go do a beer run. You know, I'm kind of a logical guy and super analytical to a fault. And I'd be like, guys, it's a beer drive. Say what it is.
Well,
Like nobody's going to run from our house to the liquor store and buy beer and run back. It is a beer drive. It is not a beer run.
man, you were the buzzkill. Like, what's John talking about? Huh? The beer drive, the beer run. Just we got to get beer. I don't know, whatever you want to call
I
it.
know. No, I was the fun guy, man. I was like,
That's
I
cool.
organized it all.
Yeah, you were the organizer. You were the so in other words, anytime anybody wanted to know what was going on, it was like, check with John. He's the organizer of all this stuff. I got
That
you.
is true, especially my senior year when we had our senior parties. I literally, I didn't like host any of the parties, but I organized it all in terms of like what was on what day. And then I was a computer programmer. So I went to my computer program and I printed out a list for everybody and I copied them all out. So everybody had the calendar because it was before the internet or email. And so I purposefully like, these are the parties we have Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we graduate, and Sunday, this is the party we got on Sunday. Like I had them all listed out.
If it wasn't so gosh darn brilliant, I'd go, man, that's like a Revenge of the Nerds thing, making a spreadsheet. But actually, that's brilliant. Here's where party on Monday, party on Tuesday, party on Thursday. I mean, now you know exactly where the schedule is. Oh, I love it.
On a real crappy dot matrix printer too. Like we weren't making copies. I was just printing it again. And I think I used the school system. I think I did it on an Apple IIe.
Oh,
and I just wrote out a little program to make it happen. And I just made like however many kids were in our class. I don't remember. I just remember like here's yours, here's yours, here's yours, here's yours.
That is so cool. Dot matrix, baby. Oh,
yeah,
I
man. That's the 80s. Talking dot matrix, 8 tracks.
Yeah.
$5 12 packs of beer. This is the 80s we're talking about, kids. Van Halen concerts.
Yeah, telephone attached to the wall with a long cord sitting in your bathroom talking. You got it.
Okay, so let's drop in one from your college days, Dave. Like any funny stories happen in college or wait, before we do that, any funny stories happen at a concert you went to, and then maybe we go to college.
I have got an amazing Ozzy Osbourne story. Okay.
Oh my God. You're speaking my language. Go right ahead.
So I was a big Ozzy fan as well. And so I don't remember. I'm going to say this probably was in 82, 83, 84, right in there.
Okay.
I remember it was several years after the Who had that terrible accident, the Who band, where there was like their stage collapsed and people died in a concert. I don't know. And that was like
they did general admission. It was the last time any major band did a general admission. They did general admission. Everybody rushed the stage and somebody one or two people got crushed to death.
That's right. And so this was a couple of years after this, but Northern Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana, at the Allen County Memorial Coliseum. And it was I think it was in August. Okay. And so it was
Yes.
on this particular day when Ozzy was in town, it was probably in the low 90s. Okay. And the Coliseum probably with standing room only, probably 12,000 people or so could get in there. So full
Right.
house. I
Yeah.
just remember it being so hot. And so we had seats on the side, but my buddy Jimmy, okay, the Mexican Jimmy, because, he's like, Dave, we got to get down on the floor. So we go down on the floor during the first band and we start working our way, on the floor to, standing, all standing room on the floor, working our way up. So we get all the way to the, like, one person in front of us to the stage, or to,
Wow.
right there. But it was so hot. Jimmy was shorter than I am. He couldn't breathe. He's jumping up in the air trying to get fresh air sometimes. It's that hot, right?
Yeah.
And I'm struggling. And so anyway, when Ozzy comes out on stage, the crowd goes crazy. And the stage, everybody in the crowd pushed forward, and the stage and where I was buckled a couple of foot, and like the front of the stage went like this, whoop, like, because it like pushed forward. And so Ozzy is yelling to the crowd, in his talk. I'm gonna do it if you don't mind. He's like,
Go ahead.
Get back, you MFers. You're going to effing die if you don't get back. Somebody's going to die. And, and he's trying to sing with a microphone, and then he's stopping. And at one point they stopped the concert to get people to move back in the crowd.
Wow.
Okay. They got the stage to, but I remember when it first buckled, there was a girl in front of me, and I thought I was going to crush her because, everybody, her and I went from a standing position to, like,
wow,
a laying. And so I had my forearms like this around her so that I wouldn't crush her. And they finally got the crowd settled enough to get the stage fixed. And then the whole concert, Ozzy, this is no kidding, Ozzy stood on stage with a microphone when he wasn't playing, an instrument, with a garden water hose, singing and spraying the crowd like this with a water hose. It was that hot, John. He sang whenever he was singing that he didn't have, he would stand there and spray the crowd, and you just waited for that water mist to come over you. But it was,
oh yeah, I've been there, man. I've been there. Wow. And people don't understand that didn't grow up in the Midwest, but 90 degrees in the Midwest is probably a heat factor of like 106.
Yeah. And then again, not air conditioned building. You're inside. It's not an air conditioned
building.
It's
humid. Like you got humid heat.
High humidity. But yeah. John, I thought the cool story of it was that I made it all the way up to the very second person to the stage. This girl was in front of me, and I got to see Ozzy up close, literally like probably 6 feet from me. I mean, he was right there.
Oh, man. I'm very jealous.
But I thought, I had the visions of the Who, because that was pretty recent, just a few years before that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting there going, I'm not even supposed to be here. I grew up in a Baptist church, man. If my mom even knows I'm at a concert, I'm going to be so dead. If I die at this concert, my mom is going to be so mad at me.
Well, not only that, your tickets were in the stands, not on the floor. So you're breaking laws, man.
Oh, man, come on. But what's a little breaking of the law? And
you're breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law.
Breaking the law. There you go. So there's my Ozzy story, man.
That's a good Ozzy story. I like it.
It was fun, man. You're going to effing die if you don't step back.
Man, I can hear Ozzy doing that too.
It was crazy. So
I got an Ozzy story for you. It happened on one of my other shows, but one of my buddies in Dallas, I'm kind of into the music scene a little, and he was a road manager for he was promotions for Kiss, and then I think he became a promotion manager for, I think, Ozzy Osbourne or Motley Crue, but he was on the tour for Ozzy Osbourne and Motley Crue, and they're going through Texas because that's where we're based out of. So I don't know if he went all around the country or if he just was the promoter. Like he was the guy that went into radio stations and gave away free tickets to get more people to come to the concert.
Oh, how cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's what his job was. And then I think he went to record stores. His whole job was to drum up more business so that they really, the idea was to sell the venue out. And so that's
Okay.
what a road promoter does. And then two, when you're not doing that, you're like you're doing roadie type of duties or whatever. But anyway, so he tells a story that he's not in Ozzy's bus. He's in the bus behind Ozzy, and he wasn't in Motley Crue's bus. He was in like the roadies bus, like all the business people were in their own tour bus. And the whole convoy is pulling over, and Ozzy staggers out of the bus and just pukes. And then apparently, as soon as he got done puking, he asked for another bottle and took a swig and went right back into the bus. Like he wasn't done yet for the night. Like puking wasn't enough, was not enough confirmation that maybe he should stop drinking that day.
Oh man, he might be a double, like a two puker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess puking, freed him up that now he can really drink.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's well, hey, we all had buddies drinking out of kegs and stuff, doing
Oh yeah,
upside
keg
down
stands. Did you
keg
ever do a keg
stands.
stand?
Somebody, yeah, keg stand. You'd see somebody throw up, and then they, all right, do it again.
Oh yeah, man, I got so many of those stories.
Oh,
Those
John,
man, Dave, we are such on the same wavelength. That is greatness.
those are Midwest things, man. Again, people in the, I didn't grow up in like a big city, so
Right.
if
Neither
you
did
didn't,
I.
yeah. And so if you grew up in a big city, I mean, I'm sure they partied just as hard, but it was different. And I think getting to do it the way we did it out in God's country, having, blowing stuff up, or, I mean, anytime we could blow something up or catch something on fire, that was a good party. Not a house or anything, but like a big bonfire. And if you could throw something in it that would, explode or boom, that was
Absolutely,
even,
man.
those were the, and that's the way to grow up as a kid, getting to
Absolutely.
party.
Hey, Dave, this
Yes,
is the
sir.
time in the show where we promote, and this is your time. I'll promote after you do, but this is the time we set aside, and I'll just share with everybody, like Mr. David Brown that we have on the show today is just like a coaching mogul. He is a genius when it comes to loans, mortgages, and real estate. And he has so much to offer anybody that wants to reach out to him in these areas. He's worked for major organizations with many people under him, and just wonderful to know you, Dave. But go ahead and promote what you do, and give my folks a way to get a hold of you if they need to.
Absolutely. I'm going to start with how to get a hold of me, and then I'm going to share something real quick. So the easiest way to get a hold of me is just on the internet at talkingwithdave.com. Talkingwithdave.com. That takes you to my website with my, my contact cards. You can go any direction there. You can look at material, but talkingwithdave.com. But before I share specifically what I want to do, John, and I know you're
Yeah,
going to
go ahead.
promote, but I want to just tell everybody, guys, when you tune into these shows with John, I've gotten to know him a little bit. I know his heart. I know his mind. This dude in the sales world is freaking brilliant. If you've not tapped into his sales material, you are missing out. I mean, you can go online and buy his stuff, or you can go buy somebody else's book. But those books from these big name peoples that are being published, and I'm telling you, they got nothing on your sales strategies, because I've studied it. This guy, John Sansoni, the sales warrior, sales strategies and material. If you haven't looked at it yet, do yourself a favor and go look at it. Literally could set yourself apart from others in sales and make thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars more. So that's my sales pitch for you. I know I'm supposed to pitch me, but I just respect you so much, John, and like the
Hey,
fact that you
thanks, man.
invited me on. I just wanted to share that. So,
Okay, thanks.
but I do two things. I've been in the mortgage industry for 30 plus years. So always, helping people with a mortgage. And let's face it, John, people don't wake up in the morning and go, gosh darn it, I want to go get a mortgage, right? No, what they do is they talk about dreams of buying a bigger house or their first house or downsizing into their final house. And I help people with the financing doing that. And then out of that, John, over the last, since about 2006, because I ran large sales teams, I help people by coaching and consulting a lot in the mortgage industry and then small businesses. I just help people learn how to connect at a deeper level, because a lot of small business and sales is all about just having a connection and a meaningful relationship. So I help people put together systems, processes, learn how to track the correct data, interpret that into sales strategies so that you can grow a business in a profitable, sustainable, long-term way to have a great business and not be stuck to your telephone and have a little more freedom. And so that's what I do. And the easiest way, again, is www.talkingwithdave.com. Thanks so much for letting me plug there, John.
Oh, heck, absolutely, Dave. Mucho respect for you. I'll go ahead and promote what I do.
I am John the Sales Warrior Sansoni. I've been professionally selling successfully for 34 years. What can I teach you? How to prospect, present, follow up, and most importantly, how to close. I have a 3-day masterclass that includes inspiration, motivation, and the mental tools to succeed in business and sales. My course includes worksheets, audio, video, and can be taken in 30 action blocks. Also included, how to have greater confidence. My course should be $400. If you get it today, $29.95. And included my book for free. Once purchased, you'll get free monthly inspiration from me. Just go to saleswarriorinspire.com and order yours today. That's it. Back to the show.
Do yourself a favor. I literally have purchased his online sales program, and I'm telling you, it changes the way that I approach and view clients when I'm in a sales environment. This guy has 34 years direct selling with people. I'm telling you, between him and I, we've picked up a few nuggets of information, but specific to his program and his modules, it's gold. It is gold. Literally, John, you should raise the price to $39,999.
Dave, man, so wonderful having you on. I mean, you and I can get together for 30 minutes, and 6 hours later, we're parting company.
Katy Trail, baby. Oh, wait. Happy trails to you and me.
That's got to be the longest and fastest happy hour I've ever had. I met Dave, and we just started chatting. Next thing I know, it's 6 hours later. They're closing the place down, and I'm like, wow, that was amazing. Like,
and I think we went through like 3 different waitress shifts.
We did, yeah.
Asking us to tab out.
We spent a ton of money. Like, both of our tabs were huge.
All 3 of our tabs.
Yeah, our
tabs were huge.
Yeah, that was so much fun, though, man. I just had a great time. And I Ubered there, and I Ubered home, just so you know, folks. Like, I practice what I preach. Like, if I'm having a good time,
that's right.
Yes, be safe out there. So, Dave, man, great having you on. I mean, my biggest takeaway from having you on was Reki. That's a great story.
Reki,
my other big take from having you on was the hairy buffalo. I might have to have a hairy buffalo party in remembrance of your Midwestern roots. We'll have it at the lake. We'll have a hairy buffalo, and you and I can go to Amazon and we can get like those buffalo horns. so we can be wearing them, you know, with the great big, with the fur, the buffalo horns.
Yeah, yeah. The problem is now, John, like maybe two, and you got to drink them out of the red plastic cups too. You know
Yeah.
yeah.
Like the
The
solo
problem,
cups.
yeah. But now the problem is like one and a half of those cups, maybe two. You and I'd probably be sleeping in a lawn chair with our buffalo hats on.
Oh,
Where
I know.
back
Yeah,
in the '80s, we could go a little longer, I'm sure.
our idea of Harry Buffalo would be light beer.
Yeah, I
We're
think
no
our
longer in the
idea.
Harry Buffalo stages of our lives.
Yeah, I
It's like
think that's
fishing. Like you like talking about it, but you don't ever get to do it, right? Like it's
yeah.
like golfing and fishing for me. I can talk about it till the cows come home. I hardly get to do either.
I'm with you, brother. It's hey, it's been a pleasure. I
Oh
am so
yes,
thankful to
absolutely,
be on the
Dave.
show. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Awesome. It has been a blast. So we're going to go ahead and sign off. So from Dallas, Texas, Dave, the dopamine closer, right? Is that what it
Chaser,
is?
dopamine
Okay,
chaser.
I don't have my good glasses on. Dave, the dopamine chaser, coming to you all the way from Dallas, Texas. Say goodbye to everybody at School's Out 80s.
See you later, everybody. And John, the sales warrior, take care, my friend.
Absolutely. And from Dallas, Texas, John the Sales Warrior. Cheers, everybody.